Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, November 16th, 2017, and this is Mastermind call number 152. Before I forget, probably a surprise to no one, we will not be doing a Mastermind call next Thursday. We'd much rather have all of us and all of you stay home and enjoy Thanksgiving with your families. I know I, for one, am very thankful to have such great customers and people that show up for these calls every week, and especially the people who are going to participate today. So that's a little bit of a cue to hit *6 and hit 1 and get in the queue. Let me go around the table with my partners. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
Actually, today I've got nothing particular to share other than just to reiterate what you said. This is probably the last time we'll have a chance to talk with all these folks maybe before Thanksgiving or until after Thanksgiving, and not only have a happy Thanksgiving, share it with your families, but be safe and enjoy yourselves, and come back after Thanksgiving ready to rock and roll and finish out the year in grand style. But I think one of the things that I know we're all appreciative of is the fact that we've helped you hopefully make your year a bit better, and you certainly you're the reason that we're here, and we're thankful for you as customers. So that little bit of platitude notwithstanding, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Well said. Chad?
From a training perspective, so next week is my last week on the road. So I'll get to schedule. November Probate Mastery is actually going to be the last week of November, so the week after Thanksgiving. We already have quite a few people in the class that have signed up, and in that case, what I do is I'll send you the recordings from the October sessions, and then we'll register you live for the November session. So for anybody who feels like they just can't wait for Probate Mastery, you can go ahead and sign up now, and I'll send you the October recordings. If you're in Subscriber Portal, just look on the left, and you can click under Education and Training, click Probate Mastery, and there's a video there kind of explaining what the course is and course outline below it. But I know a lot of folks are waiting and had questions over the last few days, and I've been traveling for a month straight, so I appreciate your patience, but it will be the last week of the month.
Excellent. And Chad, I think it's be timely to reiterate something we kind of always go over this time of year. As most of you know, I was a real estate coach and trainer for years, and this is the time of year you want to absolutely enjoy the holidays, but it doesn't mean you have to take the next couple months off. This is a time when a lot of agents are taking off time. This is a time when you can really make headway in getting a bigger share of your market because you got much less competition. And I know in previous years we have had questions about, oh gosh, somebody just lost someone, and I don't know if I want to reach out to them over the holidays. You're not adding to their stress. What you're offering, you can reduce it. So I'm sure it is going to be a tough holiday for them if they just lost someone, but don't look at it like you're bothering them. Look at it like you're going to take some of that off their plate and make them be able to relax and enjoy the holidays a little bit more. Anything more you want to say on that, Chad?
I've got plenty of stories to back it up. I've the week before Christmas, it was 2 or 3 years ago, the week before Christmas, I sent out a mailer, and I was like, this is probably wasted money. Sent the mailer to 100 people. I listed 3 houses the week before Christmas. And I actually received offers and ratified contracts on Christmas morning while I was cooking oysters for the family. Like, investors were actually out on Christmas morning making offers on houses. And I sold two, we had them on MLS, but investors bought them. So, and the people were just grateful that someone was willing to come out and meet with them because everybody else was freaking Christmas shopping. And I would, as soon as they called, I met with them. We got the houses cleaned out. We did photography. I left town. Sure enough, we got offers on Christmas morning. I couldn't believe it. So, and there's tons of those between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Like, so many people are just not, they're not prospecting. They're not following up with people, and it's pretty easy to do business in that time if you're engaged.
Yeah, one of my first mentors many, many years ago told me figure out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. So this would be a great time of year to be able to employ that philosophy and keep working. When you're not partying, when you're not enjoying the holiday, you don't have to take a couple months off. Whatever you do now is going to ensure that you have a great first quarter, and we certainly want to be part of that. Tom, anything you want to share with the group?
just a reminder that we're here to help, and if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always get us at support@alltheleads.com, and or just give us a call.
And be very specific as always. We have 4 partners and 9 employees. If you're real specific when you go to support at All the Leads about what you need help with, the best person to help you will usually get back to you in a matter of minutes. Our average response time is, I know it's less than 15 minutes, and often it'll be quicker than that. So there's a little bit of background noise there. It's probably one of my partners, but okay, it got better there. We only have one person in the queue, guys. We got room for plenty more success stories, challenges, questions. If this is your first time on the call, nothing's out of bounds. We have 2 people now. But if you would like to actively participate, we have plenty of time to handle everybody's questions, issues, hear your stories, and help you with your business. Again, just hit *6 and hit 1. And let's go ahead to the first person in the queue this week. Phone number ending in 4221. You're up first.
Yes, that is me. It's Arthur.
Yes, sir.
So just to introduce myself, we have actually just joined ATL, and it was just about a week ago that we met with Mr. Jim. I believe Mr. Jim remembers us. And we took over our territory here in South Florida, Broward specifically. And, I actually went into the ATL website, and one of the first things that I did, I completed the fast-track training. I saw all 3 videos, including some other best practices. I guess my question would be around, you do recommend starting off with a letter that we would send out, any type of mail touch, something personal, followed by a call. How would that differ if we would, for example, start off with something simpler, like a direct call? Would that be too aggressive for the client? Or perhaps a text message and then a call? This way we don't lose time the moment that we receive the leads.
So we've seen success in many different ways, and you got to understand our training is trying to appeal to a very broad audience, and to be kind of the basics for what anybody can use. Don't feel like you absolutely positively have to do it the basic way. If you feel like you need to get your calls out while your mail is being processed, then go do that. You can test and try anything. And we definitely have people who are successful making phone calls, before the letter, like really aggressive prospectors, and I respect that. It's just that if for the average agent, it's usually best, sending the letter can kind of warm that up. So what typically happens, they get the letter, they do a little bit of background, like they'll go to your website. If you had that in a letter, they'll see about who you are. And then when you make the phone call, it's just a warmer call. If you're making the call up front, you've got to get to the point and tell them who you are, how you got their information, why you reached out, and then use an emotional question to open them up. With the letter going first, it's a softer conversation because it's, oh, hey, I sent you a letter last week, had a few minutes at my desk. I just wanted to make sure you got it and you understood why we sent it. So you're going to have to find a way to get into that conversation, without referencing the letter of hey, we've got a team of people here locally in the Broward area. And as part of that, we pull probate records and notice you were an executor. So we find that most people find it helpful if we reach out early. So I just wanted to introduce myself and see how we can help. What's been the toughest thing so far?
Interesting.
So you can just play with your script, and I encourage you to try it. And you may 1 month try that, and then 1 month follow your letter and do an A/B test and see what reception you get.
Well, thank you for that. And where can I find the scripts if I were to make calls? Just to have something a little bit to prepare as to how I would start the conversation, because these are unique leads. They're not like any other lead. Where can I find the scripts for a call?
Right, and we don't have just set scripts because it's almost impossible to script because they can go in so many different directions. So what you can do is in step 3 of Probate Fast Track, which you said you finished, when the video finished, below that or the downloads pop up.
Correct.
And one of the downloads is called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet.
Correct.
I would encourage you to print that off and then go to, on the left hand, when you go into Subscriber Portal, on the left hand, click on Conference Calls and then Access Call Archive. And there we have, I think, 24 role play calls so far that are archived. And to kind of build your language, have that sheet in front of you and listen to those role play calls. And we get really deep into the why of, why we say things a certain way. And that's a better way to build, it's a good way to build confidence and build your own sales language around this. But if you listen to, I think if you do that, you listen to the last 3 role play calls, you'll be, you won't be able to wait to get on the phones because you'll know what your language is there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, that helps. Absolutely.
Welcome, Arthur. I can kind of hear the call center in the background there. It sounds like people are on the phone. So I know you guys are an active crew.
Jim, you know it. We are definitely active. We're doing our best, and hey, you always make a mistake. You learn from it. So every call that we make, we become better at it, and our business increases. But in this case, what we have, being that it's probate calls, we wanted to make sure that we make as little mistakes as possible.
Yeah,
well,
good for you. And please,
yeah,
go ahead, Chad.
If you hold the energy you had when we met you in Chicago, you're gonna kill it with this. Like you're gonna excel.
Yeah, thank you. You see, Chad, you do remember.
I do. I remember meeting you.
Yeah, Chicago was great.
All right. Well, thank you, Arthur. And please, as you guys are going to be successful with this because I know you're working them already, and you just got the leads a few days ago. As you have successes and challenges, please come back to this call every week and participate with the group. We appreciate you being willing to do that, and welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate it. Next up in the queue is phone number ending in 60337. Yes, sir. You're up.
Yeah, it's Nick, man. Thanks for taking my call. New to the program, just I guess my first mailing through the motivator there is going out this week, and just
great.
First chance I got to even get to sit in on the call. I've been too busy to do that, so just thought I'd say hi. And the other guy covered. I kind of have the the script stuff you guys went over. You said you're pretty much just going to get into the call, I guess, and just see where it goes. Just trying to set an appointment ultimately, right? So that's
sure.
your end goal.
Have you done your orientation call with Tom yet?
I don't recall, to be honest.
Okay, if not, and I was going to say also, Tom just communicated to me, Arthur, that you guys haven't either. If you get a minute, reach back out to Tom at alltheleads.com, and if there's anything you need help as far as best practices, Arthur, you've already gone and watched the videos, the fast track videos. Have you watched the fast track videos yet or not?
Yeah, I believe so. Anyways, looks like there's probably only a few parts to getting through all that, right?
About 30 minutes worth of videos with the forms and everything.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. And if you need help with anything, well, welcome aboard. I'm assuming you don't have any leads yet, so you don't have any experiences or questions.
That's what I'm saying. My mailing is going out here.
Okay,
I
good.
just talked to Alyssa today, so the first mailing's probably going to be popping out today or tomorrow. And
excellent.
Like I use $1, I use Mojo Sales. Is there a way to upload those? I know you could probably use an Excel. There's no integration of sorts, I'd imagine, for when you do get on the phones. I don't know what other people are using.
We don't have an integration with Mojo right now, but we do with Vulcan. But you can, when you're in the list view for your leads, if you look in the top center, you can click download for dialer. And the reason you want to choose that one is anyone that you've opted out of phone calls, it will automatically parse those from the list. So you're just going to get the ones that you haven't opted out. So you can just really quickly do an export there, and it'll anyone that you said I don't want to call again, it excludes them, and you can just pull them over into Mojo.
So say that again. So if I push the numbers into Mojo, I would probably upload some kind of an Excel program, I'm guessing, because that's pretty.
So when you're in My Probate Leads, and you click into a list, let's say it's November of 2017, and that'll open up in list view. In the top center, there's a download drop down, and you can download for dialer, download for mail. If you click download for dialer, that's going to download the complete list minus anybody who you've opted out. So, and then you can that downloads in a CSV spreadsheet. So you just simply, a CSV is what you would import into Mojo. So you can just download it and then import directly from your download folder. It'll take you just a second.
All right. And I probably could talk to Mojo about getting them to help me set up, when I upload that. But
they have quite a few. If you look at Mojo's YouTube channel, if you just Google or go on YouTube and search Mojo Dialer Lead Import, there's quite a few videos out there that show you step by step.
So hypothetically, though, let's say I am dialing out and you say I'm going to pull that person out, like, okay, I'm not going to call them again for whatever, or mail them again. I would have to go into all the leads and then opt them out of the next mailing. Is that correct?
That's the most efficient way to do it. If you just go in, if you go under the tab, the rating status tab, and just click exclude from phone calls, exclude from mail, then the next time you pull the list or the next time you order mail, they won't be in the list.
Okay.
It doesn't delete them; they're always there. But when you export those lists, it just excludes them, so you don't have to do the hunting.
Because I would imagine I'm probably going to manage my data more in Mojo, just because I'm so accustomed to doing all my prospecting out of there. So but just for the mailing purpose, I would have to use all the leads in, just to keep them in or out of the mailing.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Well, I would just say go in there and take a look. I mean, the opt-out buttons. If you're using Mailbox Motivator for your mail.
That was the plan. Yeah, that's it. Right now.
I think what I would recommend is probably have a window open when you're prospecting. Have your Mojo window, and then have the My Probate, the RCRM open.
Right.
And when you say I'm never going to call that person again, you can do whatever in Mojo, but just take a second and go over and exclude them in all the leads. That way, next time you pull a list next time you pull that list, they won't be in there for your phone calls. And when your mail order gets fulfilled, you'll know you're not wasting money on that. So I mean, Just think about it this way: every time you opt somebody out, you're saving yourself $1.50 on your next mail campaign.
That's right.
So that's the motivation to take 3 seconds and go over there and do that.
So, and then my first set of leads that came in, I got around 40 leads. So I'm thinking, because I live in, obviously a little bit of a smaller county. So there's quite a large county just to the south of me. But I don't want that whole county, so I don't know if there'll end up being a way that I can maybe, just take part of that next county, because 40 leads a month probably isn't going to produce enough, right? I mean, in the end, I'd like to, get at least 2 to 4 leads or listings a month out of this. That'd be a low end goal, I would think. But 40 is probably not going to produce that.
You can probably get 2 out of 40. I mean, if you're diligent, like if you're making your calls and sending your mail, I would imagine you can. What market are you in?
I'm in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, but I'm working a county north of. It's just a large market. I don't really want to work that if.
Yeah, so I mean, it ultimately depends on. Each market's a little different. If you've got a whole lot of competition, you might get, like in some of the more competitive markets, some people get 1%, but usually the median prices are so high in those markets, they still make a huge ROI. But if you're in with that many, most markets with that many leads aren't fiercely competitive, so you can get 2 to 6% conversion. So I mean, it really depends on how, and you'll get better at this once you get started. I mean, at 2% conversion, you can, you for sure get a good return, get one closing a month or so, and you do build momentum with this. So as you start, you get more confident, but also you get more marketing pieces out there. You're touching more people, and sometimes people don't respond the first month or the second month or the 5th month. It takes them a year to finally, reach out and say, hey, we're ready to do this. And I got a ton of come list me calls that were, months and months after they received the last letter. So it will build, like your momentum builds, as you go.
Do you flip them? I mean, you don't keep mailing them, for a year, do you? I mean, I have a postcard I mail out to, most of the people I touch, so could I just flip them over to a marketing postcard? I mean, at that point.
Since you have so few leads, I mean, if you have the budget, we recommend a minimum of 3 mail pieces, each followed by a phone call, because that's sustainable for most people. If you're in a market with 700 leads and we tell you to send them a letter a month, you're going to do the math and go, what the heck? I can't afford that.
Right.
But So the point is, like, the more touches you have, the more likely you are to do business with them. So if you because you have a small list, if you feel like you've got the budget, you want to set up like a 12-month postcard, or maybe 3 months of letters and 9 months of postcards following that, I think it's a great idea. I guarantee that you'll get more business the longer you stay in touch. It's not the core of what we teach, because most people with bigger markets aren't going to be able to sustain that campaign over time, because of cost.
Right.
That's right, yeah.
So the next step, I believe, you almost want to have a compiled list of some service providers. I mean, that's a list that changes a lot. I mean, it's hard to, contractor type work. I mean, I don't know, where you guys are from or your experiences is. I mean, as soon as you find a good contractor, you cling on to them, and then they're good as long as they're good, and then all of a sudden they quit being good. I don't know. That's just my experience with a lot of contractor type of work. Now, I try to have an estate woman that I'm hopefully going to be able to have a good relationship with, who does a lot of liquidating and estate sales. I'm hoping maybe she'll have some better connections too. I don't know, but you guys have that brochure. I'm assuming you wanted to provide some information in that brochure. Like, hey, here's some providers that we trust, type of thing. I don't know if maybe I'm thinking further out. I don't know.
Are you asking if we think you should send the brochure?
No, I guess I'm asking how much you should have service providers available, how much that really comes into play.
It's a huge differentiator.
Give advice.
I mean, it's a massive part of why people actually respond to you, because it's the idea is having a broad scope of services to really make you stand out against any other investor or realtor that might be reaching out to these people. So, investors are saying we'll buy your house cash, but your marketing says that too. Realtors say we can list your house and sell it quickly. Well, we can do that too, but then we also do all these other things. So it really sets you apart. So you don't necessarily disclose who your vendors are, but you want to outline what services you can provide or what problems you can solve using those vendors. So absolutely, that should be in your marketing. And like if you were to do a postcard campaign, you may just you may do the letter 1, letter 2, 3, and then go in. Postcard 1 might be here's a list of services we provide, and postcard 2 might be here's a story about someone we helped in the past, or something like that plays into that. Here's why we're different. We can do more than just put a sign in your yard and list your house.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, in reality, I've done a lot of estate work, just not necessarily going after it. It's estate work that comes to you through friends and family and referrals and all that. So it's not really a big,
yes, sir.
Big shift. All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate your very much appreciate. I didn't mean to cut you off. We have 4 more in the queue. We want to make sure we get to everyone. And thank you, welcome, and please keep coming back and participating. We always appreciate it. Next up is phone number ending in 9322. You're up next.
Hey guys, my concern, I have not signed up. My concern is it was just kind of briefly touched on in the last call, but my territory is about 150, 160 a month. I'm not gonna. There are just some zip codes in my county that I have zero desire in doing. How would I route those zip codes out without wasting $1.50 a piece on mailing to that? Is that a capability that can be implemented?
Not really. So we're pulling data at the county level because that's how it's recorded. So we're going to give you every probate in your county, and some of them will have real estate, some won't. Some will have real estate in multiple zip codes or a completely different zip code than you expected. So, I mean, what I would say is find a way to monetize those zip codes you don't want. So if you get a lead, if you speak with somebody and they have a property in that zip code, have a cash buyer or have a realtor that does business in that zip code and just kick it to them. And, take a referral fee or sell it to that investor. So,
all right, no, but that, I understand that. I probably would do that anyway. No, if I have you guys on that automatic mail would one go out automatically without me having a chance to stop it, or
it would. So unless you have gone into the system and said opt out of mail, but the thing is, you're not going to know which one's the opt out. The only data point you have is this deceased last known address. Okay. So that could be anywhere. It could be a nursing home, a family member's home. It could be anything. It could be a second home that they have and they passed away there. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a subject property that you're trying to list. It just means that's where they were receiving mail when they passed. So there's no certain way to tell what zip code the property is in. Now, we are working on a program called Probate Plus where we drill down and get you every bit of information on the real estate that they owned anywhere. But for now, best practice is, pick up the phone and see who you can help and where the property is, and then, go from there. And if you did round one and you found out that, well, it's over there, you can opt them out of calls, once you've spoken to somebody.
Okay.
All right. Well, appreciate it, and just give me a call when you're ready. We'd be glad to have you on board. Thank you for participating. Next up is phone number ending in 9244. You're up next.
Excellent. I got a couple questions. Not a current subscriber. Been looking into this. My concern is for my county, there's only 2 leads, so I don't know that it would be effective. And then my other question would be, how about for farms? Anything special you guys do or suggestions for people that have passed that own farms in probate?
Yeah, now, the first one, I'm assuming that you went into our website and saw that we projected 2 leads. Is that where you got that?
I believe it was on a call. Did you check a couple of counties?
Okay, yeah. That probably means that we have not had a subscriber in that county before. And I will tell you that we are pretty conservative in our estimate. We've had counties where we estimate 2 and they get 5, 10, or 15, but you're certainly not going to get 100 leads in a county like that. It's a rural area. I will tell you, we do have some counties where people get 5 leads and they've been with us for a couple of years, and they tend to be more upscale properties, and you don't have to have. It's definitely more expensive per lead, but you don't have to have a high conversion rate to have it make a lot of sense. As far as Chad's farm question, actually the next person up in the queue is Rodger Lacey, and he'd probably be a good one to answer that for him, right, Chad? If you ever get farm or rural property. But before I let Rodger in, do you have an answer for him? I mean, you're going to get whatever's owned. It's going to be, people ask me too, are there commercial properties? What percentage are commercial? And I always say, it's the same percentage as Americans that own commercial property, probably a pretty low percentage. Oh, and by the way, I think what maybe I misunderstood. You were saying that a 2% conversion rate or 2 leads a month. Which were you talking about?
2 leads a month.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so because we on our ROI calculator as a sample, we have you use a 2% conversion rate. I wanted to make sure that's not what you were referring to, but yeah, that's what I thought you meant for 2 leads a month. So again, you would have to try it once. You may get more leads than that, and you probably will, but you're not going to get dozens of leads in a county like that. So it may be worth it. Try it for a couple months, or you may want to branch out to an adjoining county that has a bigger population. Is there one nearby that might make more sense? You still there?
Yeah, there's one that has. I think it had 70, but I think my office is already working 7. So I don't want to be 2 people working the same leads. That's crazy. And I'd be ticked off if I was doing it and somebody in the office turned around and backdoored me.
Yeah, that's nice of you not to compete with your own office. Chad, our next person up in the queue has had experience with rural properties, and I'll unmute him in a minute. But Chad, any comments about getting farm properties? I know we had a guy one time in rural part of the panhandle of Texas, and I told him, you're going to get about 5 leads, and he said, every month? He said, you don't understand. Those are like oil field multi-million-dollar properties. So, it's all relative, and what you got to figure is, what is an average listing worth to you, and does it make sense if you're not going to list one a month out of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but if you list one a year, does it make sense based on what your average commission is? Chad, anything you want to add as far as the farm properties, or anything you can add to that?
I don't think that there's really much of a difference if it's a farm going through probate versus, a family just selling a farm. I think you're probably more likely that farms, that people would be less likely to sell in some areas. Like, where I grew up, a farm never leaves the family. You're not allowed to sell. It's a heritage thing. But I know in a lot of areas, especially in where there's urban sprawl, farms can be massive opportunities. And that's you referenced Rodger Lisi, who's in the queue. Rodger, one of his first opportunities in this was a farm that was in the path of progress that has about an $8 million valuation. So as far as there's not really anything different about it. What I would, if you don't have experience with rural properties and farms, I would just educate yourself on what it takes to sell a farm, like a horse farm versus a cattle farm or chicken farm versus a farm that has a different highest and best use than a farm, like how to know when it should be, subdivided or developed. But it's that just brings more value to any family who has a farm. Probate's not going to change that much.
Makes sense. And please hang on when I unmute Rodger, and he can probably help you with that question also. But does that help, or do you have a follow up to it?
Oh, that's excellent. I appreciate it. I just didn't know if your marketing was a little bit different or anything, but no, it makes sense.
Well, all right. So that takes me in a different direction. Now I see why you're asking that now. So you could add that, like, if you think that there's a better chance than not that you're going to have farms, you could have farm related services. Maybe you connect them with the USCS office and grant money to develop water systems for the farm. Is just one example. I know there's a lot of money out there where you can develop like cattle watering systems and add value to the property. So if you're in that space and you're connected in your community, that's something you can work into your marketing. So we can help you, further develop. We can help you with a farm development plan or with agricultural loans or grants, and offer that up as long as you can back it up. It's a strong marketing point in a rural community, because a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't know that they can get, hundreds of thousands of dollars for greenhouses, water development, sometimes even fencing. And that adds huge value to farms. So if you can, if you've got ideas like that, things that you already know, absolutely roll that into your marketing.
Yeah, I use a lot of the beginning farmer tax, low interest loans and stuff like that. So, but you got to get to those kids early before they get their net worth up.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to thank you for your question, and I'm sure Rodger's going to have some comments on this and many other things. We have our longtime client and rural specialist, Rodger Lacey. You're up next, sir.
Thank you, sir. As far as farms are concerned, and acreage, even if it's wooded acreage or something along those lines, the family generally feels like that God ain't making any more land. Why should I sell it? And unless they have an impending need for the funds to do something else with their life, that's therein lies their motive for selling that out of the family. Chad is absolutely right. The family is going to kind of hang on to it because God's not creating any more land. And they just figure that it'll go up in value. The only thing that you can do in those cases is use your opportunity to establish a relationship with them. And all of my calls that I make and speaking to the guy that's getting 30 a month or considering 30 a month, that's about what I get in my market, about 30 a month in leads. And my initial objective is to find a connection and create a relationship with that person on the early part of the phone call. Not mention real estate at all, but just mention about the services that we have and how and differentiate yourself and unhook the we buy ugly houses guy, the investors on that. But you're going to get a far more out of the personal representative if you make a personal connection, make an appointment to go out and see the property, and leading with all of the other list of services that you have, and let real estate percolate up in the conversation. But the most important thing for me is to establish a relationship with those folks. That's the short term. And the short term becomes intermediate because someday they may want to sell it, and maybe 6 months, 9 months, or next year they're just wanting to try to evaluate where the agricultural land is. But eventually that'll come around, and you want to keep staying in touch with either ATL's program or get them onto that. I spend as much time in my market working on my sphere of influence, which is being built through all the leads, and I don't get just one person added to my sphere by the personal representative. I add the family, the siblings that are in the local market, and I work that, and I work as much on my sphere of influence and the added people from the ATL leads as I do on my ATL leads, and so I'm getting second year referrals from PRs that I handled last year, and it's just a way to build my real estate career, and I'm doing it on 30 a month, and it's not the quick turn that I'm looking for. It's the long-lasting relationship and helping them through a very difficult time in their life, in this life crisis that they've got, and that's where I take my conversations when I do my calling. Relating to the earlier call about a script, I don't use a script. I learned that well from Chad. What I do is I put one sentence for each one of the things that I want to talk about, and I keep it in front of me, and I let the conversation steer itself based upon what I find their needs. I start off with questions, and then I can start adding value with each one of my estate sellers, my charity, the charity folks that will come out and pick up the things that don't sell. I do have three or four estate sellers based upon the situation of the estate seller and the PR working at. I got trash companies that we can get a bin rolled out there or a trailer rolled out there. It's just that all of that is just the biggest problem that personal representatives and executors have is, what am I going to do with all of this stuff? You delve in solving that problem with what they're going to do with the stuff, and you're going to win the listing on the property because you've developed that credibility, and you've proven value by getting a trash bin dropped off, and billed to them. Or billed to the estate, and I've even gotten some of those vendors that would say, yeah, we'll hold it for 30, 60 days until you get it sold, and just pay us out of the closing on some of the stuff. But the biggest plus that I've learned in almost 2 years in this business is build the relationship with the PR. Because that is going to be lasting over and above. And don't look at how many conversions that you get. Look at the ROI that you get on what you spend versus what you get out of the leads on it. You focus on lead conversions, and you're going to die in this business. You start looking at the ROI that you have and how many people you're throwing into. This is the way I do it. I look at how many the ROI that I'm getting and how many people I've taken off of my probate list and put into my SOI. and then I have a different marketing program for my SOI that I keep in touch on a monthly basis and call them as well. So Agri is a little bit different, but I think it's the same. It's all based on a relationship. And if you get out in the country, that's where people stay with each other a long time, is that they have trust in somebody that they've had over a number of months, years, or what have you, and they're always going to go back to that person. And I'm just trying to build my credibility with the country folks and get those. And in the urban areas, it's a little bit different. They've got a little different problem, but that's why I keep my list of first line statements, and I don't go in order. I just pick the one that I get, and it's sort of like an acronym, you know. I've got the first 3 or 4 words that I want to put into a sentence in there, and I know exactly the thought that I want to go with in the conversation. But that's just the way I do it. And guys, if you're just your first time visit and on the mastermind call and considering it, you're not going to lose money on this deal. You're going to make money on it, and you're going to make money in the long run and develop a long-standing real estate business. I'm done.
Rodger, you always have nuggets of gold. And 2 things that struck me while you were talking. You definitely answered the rural question. I know your very first probate deal you got from an attorney, it was I think a 60-acre farm in the Path of Progress. It was worth $8 million, and then I think you got a few more referrals from that same road that was in the Path of Progress. But you not only answered that question as far as rural, but as you were speaking, it occurred to me that you're kind of blessed to not have a lot of leads, so you have to kind of do it the right way. We have a lot of subscribers that get so many leads that expect instant results. Can you imagine, you know, somebody taking your approach that was getting 100 leads a month, how quick their SOI would grow, you know, how much referral business they could get, where I think too many agents expect immediate results and they don't take advantage of every opportunity. You're forced to do that, and you do a great job with it. So thank you so much. Chad, anything you want to go ahead. Go ahead, Rodger.
If I were getting 100 leads or 200 leads a month in my market, I'm looking around my office and see who I can create a team with to get a referral off of it, because I'm in there training those people on get off of, is there real estate involved in, is there a house involved in the estate? You know, get off of that question. You know, start developing a relationship. Get into your SOI, you know, and build that. Get off of this, and I'm going to use a different vendor, Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com zip code stuff, because that's just you're in there competing with several others, and you're paying $1,200 a month for your zip code. You know, it's just if you look at it from developing relationships, it's going to be a long-term payoff and a short-term payoff as well.
Yeah, and Rodger, another thing I really appreciate about you is that so many of our agents have become successful kind of disappear and they don't come back on the calls, and you're always willing to talk to prospective people, and you're always willing to come back and share. So Chad was just sending me a Skype he was applauding via Skype, so I'm sure Chad, anything you want to comment on Rodger's comments?
No, all good advice. I think it's awesome. You're a great example to everybody. I mean, the fact that you've got 30 leads a month and you've basically, I mean, this is I would call it a pillar in your business for sure. It's consistently turning out business. How many closings per month do you attribute to this now, Rodger?
Probably, I'm probably getting 1 a month right now out of the 30 leads a month. But I bet I've got probably about 4. I probably get about. I'm probably out of 30. I'm probably working about 4 of those at varying levels of interest. And I got a phone call back from 6 months ago. The PR was in Chicago. It was a great opportunity. I focus on those first and tell them, I see, you know, what can I do to help you with the house? Have you got furniture in it? And what's the biggest challenge that you have with that? And he said, yeah, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything with the house, blah, blah, blah. 6 months later, he calls me. He says, hey, Rodger, I'm ready to do something now. It's out of probate, and I want to do something with the house. And I said, well, what was going on with the 6 months? He said, oh, it wasn't anything to do with the house. It had to do with an insurance policy that had to be probated in Arkansas, and it took 6 months to get all of that taken care of. And I just kind of went, oh, okay. Put it on the market, sold in 2 days, and is a $200,000 sale, full price offer, actually over full price offer, and you know, God bless for $6,000, half of the commission, because there's a different buyer. I didn't get a chance to get the buyer because it didn't get. Even though I was already looking for a buyer when I knew that it was going to go on the market, so I have had a couple of those, and those are really nice when I can get both sides of the deal. But they come along occasionally. Investors, I've got the investors that can come in and do some of that, and some of them say, no, I don't want to pay retail for it. I want to come in and I want to get the low ball offer in there, and that's where I want to get it. And that's what, and you can't argue with those guys. So you really got to get the highest net for the PR and the estate. You really got to go maybe a half a notch less than and half a notch less than full price, because it's probably got some conditions in the house that are downgrading it, and but you can still possibly get both sides of it occasionally.
Well done, my friend. Thank you as always, and I'm sure you inspired a lot of people on the call today. Thank you so much for your participation. We appreciate it. We have one more. No, are you kidding me? No, you give golden nuggets, buddy. You could take as long as you want anytime. We really do appreciate all your input, and like I said, I know there's a lot of people on here that you inspired, thinking, hey, if he's getting 30 leads a month and consistently does a deal a month, you know, how much should I be getting with 100 or 200 or 300 leads? So, no, we really appreciate it, Rodger. Thank you. Got one more person in the queue. I guess that'll finish us up this week. If anybody else would like to participate, just hit *6 and hit 1. Otherwise, phone number ending in 8380. It looks like you're the last one up this week.
Hey, this is Derek. I am in Super Green here. I just joined, I think, like a day ago. So, wanted to.
So two sales so far. 2 sales so far in the last day.
No. I joined it yesterday, my friend. I'm hoping.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
But I wanted to see, I guess, the best way to track how, I guess, the leads that you're mailing to, because I keep hearing that we needed to touch each of the leads with 3. I have a county that I think, or I have 2 counties, and I think they're going to be like a combined like 150 leads or something like that. So, and maybe like the first month it'll be easy, but going forward, I wanted to see, I guess, what was the best way to track how many times I've mailed a particular set of people.
Well, the easiest way is to just click the autopilot button when you make your first mail order. So if you go into Mailbox Motivator on the left of your subscriber portal, you'll see a blue button that says Mailbox Motivator Demo, and in there it shows you how to set up your mail order. And all you have to do is, once you set up your first mail order, if you click Put Me on Autopilot, then every month in and month out, we'll just repeat that sequence. So we'll push your leads directly into the CRM. That pushes an order directly to the mail house. You get charged for only the part of the sequence that's going out. So, you know, at critical mass, like at 3 months, you're going to have 3 overlapping campaigns. So you'll have 9 letters out there, and you don't have to think about any of it. Like, you're only getting charged for mail that goes out when it goes out, and it's all being managed for you. So that's a big part of the system that we've built.
Okay. And what is that per piece again? One more time.
If you're using a greeting card envelope with the live first class stamp and handwriting, it's $1.50.
Is that the only option is to use a letter, or is there a postcard option?
We have postcards. We have trifold brochures. We can do business mail. It's really depends on. I mean, that's what we recommend. For most people marketing to the personal representative, because it's a unique mail piece that gets opened and it stays around. Anyone, when you think you're getting a handwritten greeting card, you're going to open it, right? So it does cost a little more because the materials cost more, but it is. So we found it to be most effective.
Now, we do have people that do postcards and have had good success with postcards also. So, I mean, we'll tailor it to what you want. We'll give you our best practices advice. But and if you're going to try postcards, like Chad always says, maybe do a split campaign. Send half letters and half postcards and see for you. Different things work differently in different areas. But we really, our printing division really is a full service printer. We can do and create anything you need. From business cards to flyers to trifold brochures. And, it's not a one-size-fits-all program. So if you want to try something a little bit different, just let us know. Just hit, support at all the leads. And Mark or Alyssa, I believe, one of them will reach back out to you, with and help you with that mailing program. Have you watched the Fast Track videos yet that kind of take you through how to do the mailbox motivator or not?
Getting through that.
Okay.
I haven't gotten through the entire thing yet.
Yeah, I'd watch that first and then reach out to our mailing division and they'll make some recommendations to you. And if you're looking to, we never tell you not to do something. If you like and have had good success with postcards in the past, and as a matter of fact, Derek, Tom has an orientation call scheduled with you this afternoon, so you and him can maybe dive into that a little bit deeper. He's going to be calling you today.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right, sir. You're very welcome. We have one more person in the queue. Phone number ending in 4928. It looks like you're the last up this week.
Hi there. How are you guys doing?
Great. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. My name is Brett, and I just had a question. It was something that someone had mentioned earlier about asking a emotional question to get the person across the phone to open up for you to have a conversation with them. Can you kind of talk about what type of questions you're asking in order to do that?
Sure. Yeah. So, one of my favorites, it's almost impossible not to engage with is, and it's easier for me to, I'll put a sentence before it just so you get the context. But you can explain the services you provide, some of the services you provide. And one of the reasons we reach out so early, Mr. Seller, is because we realize how stressful this can be for the family. What's the one thing that you guys could use the most help with right now? Or what's been the toughest thing for you guys so far? Or if I could take one thing off your plate, what would it be? Questions like that. That's so we understand. It's you lead with empathy, right? So we understand this is a really challenging time for almost every client we've ever spoken to. What's your biggest challenge? And it's pretty hard not to engage with that. And you know that they have challenges right now. It's probably the first time they've been through this. They probably still have unanswered questions. A lot of times they will be, their expectations of the attorney are bigger than that attorney's actual scope of service. Like they expect the attorney to just tell them what to do every step of the way, and that's not exactly how it works. And especially they're not going to do everything for them. So you can kind of paint that picture, and we have a good understanding. So we try to reach out to people early because we know we can make a big difference, and we know how stressful it can be. What's the most stressful thing you can think of right now, or that you're going through right now?
And Chad, you always, I don't think we can mention this enough because it's so valuable. Agents that do get objections tell us one of the most common objections they get is either my attorney's handling everything or I've got it all handled. And just a great question there is to say, oh, okay, great. So did your attorney change your insurance or did you do that yourself? And just shut up. And what we referred to there, very few people realize if the house is vacant for more than 30 days, they have an owner-occupied policy on there and something happens, they're probably not covered. So, that's another example of just asking a good question. Oh, you already took care of the insurance, or the attorney already took care of the insurance for you? It's going to kind of stop them dead in their track and let them know that you're different. You really can provide value, and maybe they don't have it handled as well as they thought they did. Make sense? You still there? Oh, for some reason he got muted out. Hang on. Are you still there, sir? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part you said?
Did you hear any of it?
No, actually, my call just dropped, and I just clocked back in super quickly.
Okay, I was just real quick. I'll summarize real quickly that a good open-ended question to ask if you get an objection, a generic objection like I've got it handled or my attorney's got it handled. A good similar question to what Chad just said would be to say, oh, okay, great. So did your attorney change the insurance for you, or did you do that yourself? And just shut up, because if the property's been vacant for more than 30 days and they have an owner-occupied policy, they probably don't have valid insurance in effect on the property, and very few of them realize that. And it's a good way to ask them a good question that'll kind of make them realize that maybe the attorney isn't doing everything, and maybe you really are interested more in helping them than just earning a commission. So I was just giving another example of that. And anything else, Augustine? Are we good? Because we're coming right up on the hour. It's been a great.
That's perfect.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much. I always like to close these calls by challenging everybody. First of all, thanking tremendous number of people showed up. If it's not a record, Chad will let me know. It's close to it. And we had great participation. We had great success story from our friend Rodger. And, you took the time to be here, and we thank you so much for doing that. But, make the most of the time you took by taking one idea, one thought, one thing that really struck you, inspired you, makes sense to you today, and go out and put it into practice and come back and share it with us, not next Thursday. Have a great Thanksgiving, but we will see you all here, same time, same place, a week from next Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and thank you for being here. Have a great holiday, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Take care.